and welcome to this week's Tune In Tuesday with your host, Shirley Hill. And I am bringing to you this week guests that we had last week. Now, if you didn't get an opportunity to tune in, make sure you do at the end of the show. But today, I'm so excited to have our guest artists from last week's presentation of the prayer, Dane Suarez and Jessica. How are you guys?
We're good.
Good.
Thank you for joining me this week. Look, last week's presentation was off the chain. It was beautiful, and I am honored that I had an opportunity to accompany you. So, hey, yay for last week's presentation. So look, I'm not going to take up a lot of time. I really want you all to share with our audience who you are, how you got started, and what keeps you going on this musical journey. So Dane, since you're new to the Memphis area, why don't I start with you? Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, and how you ended up here in Memphis.
I'm originally from Princeton, Illinois, a very small town. My wife and I have kind of been all over the country for the most of our career so far, and most recently landed here in Memphis. Carrie Ann, my wife, just got a job with Opera Memphis, and so we are here permanently. We just moved into our new house yesterday, so we are so happy to be here. Yes, coming live from our place. But yeah, I got started in music young. My whole family is musical. My grandmother was a music teacher. Most of the music in my family is rooted in church, and my dad plays in a band. I knew that I wanted to pursue music in some capacity growing up. I didn't know exactly in what, but I landed at Butler University for my undergrad. I did my graduate school at the University of Illinois, and it wasn't until my last year in undergrad where I actually got involved in opera. I wasn't exposed to opera being from a small town. I had a teacher who thought that it could be a fit for me, and the more that I got involved with it, I became obsessed with it, and that's just kind of like the start of it for me. And I'm so happy that this has been a part of our life, and that it's actually brought me here to Memphis. Memphis is kind of my opera home away from home. It was my first place where I had a resident contract back in 2013, and so when the pandemic happened, I'm so grateful that Ned decided to reinvest in some of the artists that got their start here. And so that's why I'm back here as a Handorf Company artist currently, and I'm so happy to be here.
Well, we're so happy to have you back, and I've actually had an opportunity to perform with you in some of our performances here with Opera Memphis. So welcome back to Memphis, and welcome to the stage. Jessica, our very own Memphis artist. Tell us about yourself, dear.
So I am Jessica Ray, and I am a native of Memphis, Tennessee. I love my hometown. I love Memphis. I love Memphis. Of course, I love other cities too. They're great. They offer a lot of things, but it's nothing like Memphis music and Memphis food and the culture down here. So I grew up doing music. My family also is really heavy into music. More so my dad. He was a bass player, and he played on like Ring My Bell and Down Home Blues and Disco Duck and I think Taxi and like a host of other songs. I can remember a cool story about being 2 and my mother hearing me singing some song, Dial My Number by the Boys, and she was like, she's gonna be a singer. So ever since then, I guess I've been singing. When I figured out I wanted to sing was probably around 13, when I started really like going out, singing in churches, things we do when we're trying to get our big break, I guess, as we say. And then I went through high school and I sang in the school choirs, and eventually I got accepted into the University of Memphis on a full ride to sing in Sound Fusion. Under the great Dr. Larry Edwards. Yeah. And then I got my graduate degree also at University of Memphis. And then I was signed to a record label, Made in Memphis. And so then I've just been doing things ever since from there. It's a passion. I'm obsessed with what I do. I can't see myself doing anything else. I'm excited to be here as well, and to be able to collab and do this type of work that we've been doing. And I hope we get to do Yes.
Yes, and this is not the first time the two of you performed together. When you did the prayer last week, you actually met and did something with Memphis Symphony Orchestra back in December. So when the invitation came for the two of you all to come together and help our audience understand what it is that we're doing here as it deals with variations on the theme, like genre of music that people don't think normally would intersect or parallel or say, hey, that fits. So we're trying something new here. And hats off to Ned Canty for this idea. So I want to start with asking you, why did you choose the genre of music? I know you said both of you guys probably started out in church, as most artists do. It's just the base of everything, jazz,
Right.
R&B, even opera, what we call fat chords now you realize came from classical pieces, Beethoven, Chopin. So there is a link that connects every genre of music, and music connects the soul. And we are in the heart of soul right here in Memphis, Tennessee. So, hey, Jessica, I know you have a new single out. Am I correct?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that song, because what I want to do is tie the two songs that the two of you are going to perform and let our audience and our listeners understand how the two songs, I like to use the word gel together. Great.
So the latest single I have out is entitled Fingertips, produced by Black Elvis and written by Felly, an incredible team. And it's much different than the songs that I've done in the past, which have been more party songs or very sexualized songs, as you would say. So this one is more rooted in like just being in love with your partner and just loving everything about them, from the way they touch you, from the way they look at you, from things that they say. It's really a love story. And I love every aspect of every riff that he put in there that coincides with every lyric that I sing. And even from the music, you know, how it meshes so well with just the vibe and the feel of the song. That's Fingertips. It's a love story. It's a love song.
And it's very cool that you mentioned about a love story, because those of us that have gone to operas or performed operas, the core is always about some kind of romantic relationship, whether it's with one woman or a whole plethora of women. And the downside to that is it always ends in tragedy. You know, you love and then you die at the end. So, Dane, tell us a little bit about your song and how it just embellishes a lot of what Jessica does in her song entitled Fingertip.
I love that. Going back to the concert that Jessica and I did in December, it was a holiday concert, and we got to sing one piece together, and we realized, wow, we sound good together. We should like try to figure something out. So we were excited to do the prayer last week. In getting to know her, I went onto Spotify. I started checking out her music. So when she said that she was going to be talking about Fingertips this week, I started listening to the text, and everything about it's actually very operatic, describing each little thing about a person. And those are the kinds of things that in operatic poetry that composers love.
Yeah.
Because composers can illustrate the words in the music. Librettists are the people who write the text for the opera. A composer is very excited to get those words to be able to set them in a certain kind of way. So hearing the song Fingertips, I immediately thought of La Bohéme, which is the opera that I've actually performed the most so far in my career. And the song Que gelida manina, which means your tiny cold hand. So essentially basically the exact same thing. But in this version of it, it's Rodolfo basically putting the moves on Mimi. It's a love at first sight story. And in this is the first time you actually get to hear Rodolfo really sing in the opera. And it starts with just one note that kind of grows into this big thing. And you hear the swells of emotion happening, but he describes every little thing. He talks about her eyes, and he talks about her fingers, and he talks about her hair, all these things that he's fallen in love with. And Rodolfo being a poet himself, it's pretty easy for him to do that. But I think we'll see the correlation there, and I hope you enjoy it.
That is so cool. Who ever thought an opera song and an R&B song. Lovers coming together to make beautiful music. And I can't wait to hear the performance because you guys just blew me away with the prayer. It was hard to play and listen to you guys. It was just so moving. So I can only imagine when you do those two songs, how much our listeners are going to enjoy.
Emotions that I try to hide, he knows. And if he ever sees my heart turn cold, he just shoots me a glance and it turns back warm. And my baby has a pair of lips, and when he kisses me, I know exactly where heaven is. Oh, and every time I try to walk away, he's kissing all the spots that make me stay. Oh, it don't even matter what I say, 'cause when his lips go to work, it turns into play. Oh, pressing them buttons, I end up in the bed wearing nothing. Oh, I try to fight it the best way I can, but he's a magician with them hands. Got me open like a bottle, then he clutch it like a throttle, running up and down my body like an ebony and ivory piano, stroking keys just like he Mozart. Crazy but soft, then he go hard. Oh, I feel like I gotta get me
scrivo e come vivo, in povertà mia lieta, sciarro da gran signore, rimedi d'amore, per sogni e per chimere, e per castelli in aria. L'anima milionaria, v'entrar con voi corona ed i miei sogni usati e i miei sogni miei tosto si dileguar ma il furto non m'accora. Poiché va preso stanza la speranza, or che mi conoscete, parlate voi e parlate chi siete. Vi piaccia dir.
So I'm pretty up in age. And I know you mentioned Ring Your Bell. That was something I listened to in college. I'm telling my age. But anyway, you guys are young, but you sound really experienced in what you do. And I understand, Jessica, you said you started singing around 2, and Dane, you were pretty young as well. At what point and what age did you really hear something in the genre of music that you specialize in and say, hey, that's the path that I want to take. That's designed for me. That's what I want to share with the world. That's how I can connect to the community. Tell us a little bit about that, Jessica, if you would.
For me, I can't remember the exact age, but I definitely know where I was and what it was. And that was in Fraser, in my living room, listening to and watching Michael Jackson's concert live in Bucharest.
Yes.
When I tell you, that was like, it was it. That was it for me. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a pop star. That's it. Where's my dressing room? Where's the stage? I am ready. Like, that was the key turning point for me. I mean, just his passion that I saw on stage, the reaction from the crowd, the control he had over the band, from the lights, the dancers, the costumes. I mean, everything about it was entertaining. It was what I needed. And I've always made sure that whenever I get on stage, especially when I'm in my element and I have the dancers, and I make sure that I give them what they came for. And so I can definitely attest, that moment was it for me. That was the turning moment for me.
Oh, I feel you there. I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. Yeah, the lights, camera, action. That's almost like going to see an opera. The costume, the lighting, the excitement, it just pulls you in and you want to know more and more. So Dane, hey, tell us, opera. Really, man? You look like rock band.
Right.
You know, with the hair and all. Opera? I never would have thought.
And again, same, like college was So the school that I went to was very classically focused. And so I was singing art songs freshman year, sophomore year, junior year. But again, it wasn't until my senior year that I had a teacher say, have you considered opera? And so my trial was actually going to a summer program in Italy that my teacher was a teacher at. And it was the first time that I really got to perform in an opera and actually see what it was all about. That was kind of my first taste of it. And as I got to learn about it more, I feel like probably the moment for me when I realized that this was the coolest thing ever for me was actually when my wife and I met at Sarasota Opera. It was our first job out of school. We were both young artists at Sarasota in Florida. And the first production of the season, which fell, the opening weekend was on our birthdays, February 8th and 9th, because we're born a day apart. Very crazy. All these February birthdays, yes. The opening night was Puccini's Turandot. And it was, we were just in the chorus, but the just electricity running through your veins, running through the audience, everyone, it was one of the most exciting things that I have ever been a part of. And so the idea that that's something that I could do for the rest of my life was so exciting.
I feel you. And we're in a time now where you can't go into theaters or places to perform. And the fact that both of you are still finding ways to connect to the community. And we hear this phrase that music is a universal language. It's electrifying. It taps into all of your emotions, your sorrows, your heartbreaks, your funny moments, your sad moments, your melancholy moments, and moments that you just don't want to fool with anything. You can find a song that can tap into that emotion. And I love music. It's a part of me. And speaking with you guys, I can see that it's like blood flowing through our veins. Music is. So tell me, Dane, since you're not from Memphis, what is it about the Memphis music that really gets you? How do you think you fit in? What do you have to bring to the table? What is it that you just love about the Memphis community and the music that we have here? Because it's definitely rich.
Memphis has been a home away from home for me ever since 2013. The community here has always been so amazing. You know Mark and Tom, I'm sure, of Opera Memphis. Yeah. They've been that's my homestay. That's where I go. But they have been some of the most amazing hosts, and of all the companies that I've ever worked for, it's been one of the things that I look forward to coming back to Memphis is getting to stay with them. I got here in the fall, in September, and was doing a lot of the Sing to Me concerts that Opera Memphis has been providing, finding other ways to sing around the community. You may remember my wonderful performance in front of the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. Do you not know about this, Jessica?
No!
When the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile was here,
You need to check.
Carrie Ann rewrote the text to Nessun Dorma, a very famous thing, and I went and stood in front of the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, sang the song, and it went, I guess, quote unquote viral, maybe?
Yes,
Would you say?
Nailed it. Viral.
Definitely need to look that up. Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, of all the different things that I've done, singing recitals and concerts at a brewery and finding all these different opportunities, the thing that I kept noticing is that Memphis cares so much about Memphis.
True.
The community here is just so strong. Memphis wants to support Memphis. And so being from a small town that is very kind of homegrown, you get that feeling here. And I feel like that's the thing that made me the most excited, and kind of that was the last thing that I realized, that this is the place for me. I mean, especially right now and potentially forever, who knows, but we love it here. And that sense of community, the wanting to support people.
So Jessica, I love music, of course. I play piano, but I also like to sing. And growing up as a child, I always thought that if you opened your mouth and notes came out and everybody said, oh, that sounds so great, that you knew you had nailed it, that you were a singer. And unfortunately, because I did not have the proper techniques, although it was gospel music, I didn't have the techniques that I really needed to preserve my voice. So, as an R&B singer, can you share with our audience some techniques and tips that you use? Because what I want to show are the similarities with opera, because people think that opera singers are la 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 la, you know, and R&B singers are rough, but it takes the same technique to produce a similar sound. So share with us, what do you do to get the voice going?
So first of all, yes to the voice. Okay. So for me, I actually did not have the proper training that I should have had when I started out, which is why I did damage to my vocal cords. So you all listen up out there, because it's very crucial to do training. It really is. It's very easy when you find that you can sing to just start opening your mouth and start singing, and you can potentially damage something that's so fragile. Even though it sounds so powerful, it's so fragile. So for me, some of the things that I have done is to incorporate vocal training in my daily routines. So for me, it's like a lot of lip buzzes. I do a lot of, I don't even know what you call some of these exercises, like when you, woo, and you go down and you know, do you know what you call those?
We call
like,
that sirens.
Okay, sirens. So we'll call it, yeah. So I do a bunch of those. And then of course I do my basics, you know, scales, things like that. And I definitely do a lot of breathing exercises. That was something that I struggled with. So I do a lot of breathing exercises and plenty of water. Plenty of water.
Great, thanks for sharing that. Well, look, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us. And I want to say to our listeners, if you haven't had an opportunity to see any of the Tune In Tuesday episodes, please stop by our website and check it out. It's really engaging, and it's warm and inviting and welcoming. And that's what I love about Opera Memphis, is still trying to keep us connected to the community. We are the community. So I want to thank each one of you so much for joining us. And I look to hang out with you guys and maybe play for you again really, really soon.
Yes,
please.
yes.
So much. Look, I appreciate you all stopping by to see my segment, Variations on a Theme, part of the Tune In Tuesdays. So remember, turn up the volume, listen in, and I'll see you again very soon. Have a musical day. This is your host, Shirley Hill, signing off. Bye.